is up, NFL fans? It's your boy Kevin Phillip Fox here with the man from down under, Adrian Revito. Adrian, how the H are you, my friend?
I am doing fantastic. It is so 7 in the morning is no longer early for me, or 7:30 is no longer early for me.
It's too
So
early.
so it's
Old
nice
hat.
to just feel nice to feel somewhat alive. So I'm doing good, man. I'm doing really, really well. We had a decent game for our Thursday night that we got to talk about today. We had a good week two to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's get
A
it. Let's
lot of
get
fun
it.
stuff today to talk about. And I think, yeah, in order to go forward with football coverage, you have to go backwards. So I'll open this up to you. We'll start with, because it's fresh in the mind, we'll start with the Thursday night football recap. Adrian, what did you make of that game?
Yeah, look, I mean, I said this last week. I think the 49ers looking like the best team in football. I think the only one that could really challenge them at this point might be the Cowboys, which is weird to say because normally the AFC is the people we're talking about.
Hmm.
So where do we go here? 13 straight regular season win. Brock Purdy 8-0 as a starter. I'll start with McCaffrey. McCaffrey is just looking like bona fide number one RB in football.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that, or do you?
No, I don't think there's a question about it. I mean, the if we're talking fantasy, if we're talking, injury history, I mean, he's still got that little tiny scarlet A of like risk, but I
Mm.
still think when he's fully healthy, there is not a single running back who can. They're not even in the same ballpark as McCaffrey, and he's just
It's
a
so
shot.
weird though, like, how do the 49ers have kept him healthy where the Panthers
Yeah,
just and it's not like they're not working him. I understand that
right.
he's got a little less touches, but they're still working him quite hard. He couldn't stay on the field with the Panthers, and now with the 49ers, he's just look, he's like a cheat code. And if you're versing him in your fantasy team this week or any week, just take the L, move on.
Yeah, man, it's brutal. McCaffrey, Debo, Purdy, that's really the three-headed monster from last night to talk about on the 49ers side of the football. Purdy is just, I've been saying it since I started coming on the show. He's a mechanic. He knows
Mhm.
exactly what to do. He's a surgeon. He has a Shanahan flow chart of what to do when the play breaks down, when this happens, do this, when this happens, do that. He throws a lot of touchdown passes, two a game in seven out of his eight regular season starts. He's a really, really good player. And I hear all this talk of, you know, can he be special? Is he this, that? A lot of victory lap tweets of like Purdy looks awfully average tonight, or, da da da. Okay, first of all, there's too much first half victory lapping in football games. Football games are 60 minutes. Okay, if you were one of the people who were dancing on the Giants' grave at halftime in week 2, shame on you, because obviously, Daniel Jones played an entire 60-minute football game in 30 minutes last week against the Cardinals. So there we go. There we go. I like that.
Is that scorch
Let's
take?
throw
Yeah,
some
I'm
new
about
sound
it.
effects. We miss brutally our producer Anthony Weiner. He's gonna be in and out. We're really hoping to get him as consistently as possible. Same with Jimmy Ray. The legit schedule is moving all around, but it is for good reason, as you guys know who have tuned into the Waiver Wire show and the Fantasy Q&A show. But Adrian is gonna start hammering those producer.
I'm a big sound drop fan, so
They're great.
I'm just letting people know that if wait, ready for this? If you don't like sound drops, I got bad news for you, mate.
Oh, let's go.
Robot self. All
Let's
right,
go.
I'm sorry, I
No, let's go.
interrupted your take.
No, please,
Take it
please.
away.
Yeah, but there's just a lot of victory lapping that's going on before. Like Purdy had a phenomenal game, and if you just watched the first half, you might think that he sucks again, or you might think that he's exposed. That's just right.
Yeah,
Age.
they took a half to get going, right? So like I mean, he threw for 300 plus yards as he tends to get close to. He always puts his two touchdowns in there. But he started with 68 in the first half, 240 in the second. So you're right. And if you're a Packers fan, or you know what, look, maybe I just feel scorned by this. Maybe every team feels this, but you get those games where you come out blazing and then drop off the side of a cliff, or the
Yeah,
vice versa, where you're just an absolute, car wreck before the halftime. So, you're absolutely right. We should also talk about the Giants in this game. Their
yeah,
running game just could not get going without Barkley. Matt Breida went for 17 yards as their top rusher. They're just not trying to, and that would be fine if you had a dynamic passing game, but they couldn't even push the ball downfield. They seem no urgency to get the
yeah,
ball downfield. They're going kind of dink and dunk, and you can't really do that against the 49ers. One, they'll make you pay. You need to have these short, long, sort of explosive drives to get into the end zone. But two, they're going to put points on the board. So for the Giants, I know Brian Dable said there's sort of no excuses at the end, and he doesn't, he's not going to hold on to the Barkley injury. But I think we can agree that without Barkley in that team, look, I've been out on the Giants. You know this since the start of the
Yeah.
season, but without Barkley, I mean, I feel like I'm not alone there.
Yeah, no, and it's definitely a super popular opinion. The Giants are kind of one of those. They're kind of a trash heap right now.
Mm.
And I totally respect that. I from what we've seen, right? But you also can't neglect the fact that they've played two of the best teams in the NFL in their first 3 games. So,
Yeah, I agree.
early season football it's got to be measured. It's got to be weighted, right?
Look, I think though to counter that though, they have played some of the best teams in football, but you can take from like I mean, you can play a good team, you can get trounced and still see like sort of sparks of hope. You can see things that look
Right.
good.
Yeah.
To me, they haven't put much on tape that makes me say the Giants are going to be a contender this year.
There's some bad eye test situations happening as
I
well.
think so.
But a loss counts for 1 loss. An ugly loss counts for 1 loss, and a close loss counts for 1 loss, right? I mean, I'm just being realistic here.
Mm.
So, you play the Niners and the and the Cowboys. I mean, who else who other than the Bills, Eagles, Chiefs, who wouldn't come out of that stretch looking like crap, right?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah, look,
mean? Like,
you make a good point, and you
and
as
it
always drive a dagger through my hating heart.
Hey, it's okay. It's I'm not saying you have to stop hating. They're easy targets for hatred right now, and I'm not telling anybody not to. I'm over here in Perspectiveville. You know what I'm saying? And I
You're
do
the
the same
mayor
thing.
of Perspectiveville,
I
Kev.
always try to bring perspective because it's the same thing with like, okay, let's talk a little bit more week 2 action, right? So I joked about it in our group chat because I predicted a 38-17 Bills win over the Raiders. Ended up being 38-10. That last touchdown, there was a fumble inside the 10 from a Raiders player. So I think that, I'm victory lapping. But we saw our bounce back from Josh Allen, right? We saw, for the most part, our bounce back from the Chiefs. They didn't look as great as we wanted them to look. Jacksonville's a formidable opponent. Again, another game that the Chiefs were in where it kind of felt like both teams were trying to lose.
Yeah.
Chiefs and Jaguars, and Jags, looking a little like paper tigers, looking a little overrated to start the season. Right?
Yeah, I was gonna say I think look the Jags have taken a little while to get going. That in the first week Calvin Ridley looked uncoverable, and then week 2 did not have that same sort of effect.
Superhuman,
I mean, the,
superhuman week 2.
yeah, they did start off pretty poorly last season as well, and sort of got stronger towards the back end. Now that you don't want that to be a hallmark of your team because really the strong teams come out of the gates hard.
Yeah,
I said this last week, and I'll what's the word? I don't. I'll collect this with the Bengals. If you're a good team, if you're a powerhouse, you get 5 losses a season. That's it. Once you
pretty
once
much.
you want to be 12-5 if you want to be a powerhouse. Now,
Yeah,
if someone like the Bengals were to lose this week, they've got 3 of those losses out of the way straight off the bat. The
yeah,
Jaguars got to win, got to loss. Like you can't start weak every year.
yeah,
And you can't get your first 5 games have 2-3 losses in there. So a little concerning because I've been on the Jaguars bandwagon just because I'm so loving Calvin Ridley.
yeah.
Um, it's scary.
I heard he was banged up in week 2 against the Chiefs. I don't know what happened, but it sounds like that might have contributed to the 2 for 32 line, which just sunk me in DFS everywhere. I picked Ridley in every lineup. I thought that was going to be a shootout. Alas, it wasn't to be. We do have the GOAT Armand in the chat. What's popping, Armand, with the signature hey now? We love to see
What's
it.
happening, Aman?
So let's do our quick hits from week 2 so we can get to these previews because these previews
All
they're
right.
nuts, but we love them and we're so happy to guide you through week 3 together. I'll say your Packers are pretty darn legit. They should have pulled that one out. It definitely hurts to see them lose that game. The two sides of your heart were sort of going back and forth there with the Jags or with the Falcons.
Man, did you see some of those Bijan runs? I want.
He's
It's
such a
weird that I'm more excited to talk about the Falcons. Look, Desmond Ridder, as always, made some good and bad decisions, but he had some deep balls, and at the end of the day, he kind of brought it home at the end. Now,
yeah,
this is another one where it's sort of tale of two halves because the Packers came out looking like they had that in the bag,
yeah.
and then it just kind of imploded like a Wile E. Coyote trap. Like that was but Bijan looks just like unbelievable. I'm
Yeah,
really
he's
like just so in on that. The
yeah,
Packers look they were without their weapons. I think if they had Jones, if they had Watson, then you
I
probably
agree.
might have had a different. Even Bakhtiari was out,
Yeah,
uh, but they're just trying to stop that run is just tough. Like try. I don't know if anyone's watched the even just watch the highlights. Every time Bijan gets the ball, I think I could count on one hand how many times the first tackle stopped him. Like
yeah.
he's just ridiculous.
Did you see
Why
the
they're not
aerial
feeding him
shot
more?
in slow
Yeah,
motion? Oh god. If
so
you haven't
cool.
seen it, look it up. Bijan Robinson aerial shot of like a first down run that he had, couple crazy jukes in slow-mo. It almost looks like a scene from a movie, like where the extras are paid to miss.
Yeah,
Like that's how good it
but
looked. Yeah, so
um,
I'll say I'm super encouraged by what I've seen from the Packers, especially Jordan Love.
yeah.
QB2, I believe in fantasy right now. Do you
Wow,
know
I didn't know that.
you know who QB1 is?
Hold on, wait. Let me guess this. In fantasy QB1, I mean Tua. It's got to be Tua.
Kirk Cousins.
Stop it.
Oh yeah, that's fantasy for you. You always got to be paying attention, man. Fantasy football is a fickle monster. Um,
Kirko Chains is
yeah,
number one. That's insane.
Kirk Chains. I'm glad we got to talk through your team. Anything that you wanted to say? Let's say my team, right? Let's anything you observed from the Bills in that week 2 game that has you feeling a certain kind of way.
Yeah, I think this is what I'll say, and we said this before. So, we said in the post game, I think last week, you said no round one victory laps, but I'm going to take a victory lap just on people who overreact to week one.
Right.
Because people who are like Josh Allen this, Josh Allen that, he's back. He always has a couple of games. That's the Josh Allen experience, as I'm sure you're
Literally.
very aware. Um,
Unfortunately.
but at the end of the day, that guy puts the team on his back so often. He's
Yeah.
such a good player.
And I think what's the scariest about it is that he took what the defense gave him and still ended up with 274 and 3. He
Yeah.
didn't push the ball down the field hardly at all. He did that magical Josh Allen bounce out of the pocket and roll to his left or right. He's just not like if he's out of the pocket, he's just not fair because I think the Bills receivers are trained in the scramble drill. Like I think that's something they practice quite a lot, and
Mhm.
chemistry is such a big part of it. I mean, Gabe Davis 6 for 92. It's his contract year. Adrian, should the Bills jump on extending Gabe Davis before it's too late? I would.
I'm sorry to give you the pause. If anyone's listening to audio only, that's just I'm not sure.
He's
I don't
thinking.
know the answer. I want to know the answer for you. I don't super rate him, but I know he comes through with clutch moments. Like he does. He's not gonna perform that way for 17 games a
He's not
year.
consistent, even
But
remotely.
but when you got Stefan Diggs, he's obviously not wide
That's
receiver
right.
one. I'm gonna say no. I'm just gonna say no.
That's fair.
Feel like
Yeah.
you could go out and
That's a
get better.
popular opinion. That's a
Yeah,
popular opinion. I would say based on chemistry, based on knowing the offense, based on Josh's trust in him, I'd like to see he's got the C on his chest this year. I'd like to see him put it together a little more
yeah.
consistently, but that's almost why I want to sign him now to a more reasonable deal before he prices himself out. Like if you can get him for like a Juju type contract, like 3 years, 36 million, I would take that so fast. I think he'll get
Think
more.
it's worth it? Yeah.
I
I mean,
think
look,
he'll
if he
get
goes to the market, he will.
on the market, he'll
Yeah,
get 20 mil because teams are desperate for they'll chase that playoff performance.
of course.
They'll
Yeah.
right. So we talked about my team, we talked about your team. Anything else
I
you
have,
got from week
I have
2?
to mention one thing, and
Sure.
this sucks. This sucks to mention this. In fact, I'm gonna. This with just a prayer to the football gods. These injuries of like superstar players.
Yeah,
I
can you
mean,
guys chill out?
all injuries. I don't know if you saw Nick Chubb's injury, and if you
Oh,
did, I would encourage you not to watch it. It
so
is like,
gross.
yeah, you know what? It was one of those things where it came up in my feed and I couldn't help myself, and it was a terrible idea. Um, and that changes the Brown season. Aaron Rodgers
Yeah.
changes the season.
Yep.
Even it's not the same, but it's definitely the same. But Trayvon Diggs out now
Yeah.
with a practice injury. It's just too early to have these stars going out, and I'm
Fair.
really conscious that I don't want to talk about just stars because any injury to any player
Yeah.
sucks. But it's just like, dude, if you're gonna just don't injure. We need. I'm happy for the Jets to suck because they suck. I'm happy for the Browns to lose because they lose.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not happy for them to have a season tank because one star player goes out.
Yeah.
So I have to mention is just a prayer to the football gods. Just stop it. That's all. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just be better.
It's devastating, man. Yeah, Trayvon Diggs. I mean, that's family. As you know, I'm a huge Stephon Diggs fan. So the Trayvon Diggs stuff it's gonna hit home for Bills Mafia. We were waiting for the Diggs on Diggs matchup. I think that would have been must watch television. It's canceled, deferred for another 4 years possibly.
Yeah.
Um, and that's just a gut punch. But Adrian, I appreciate you bringing that up. We would be remiss not to give our love to all the fan bases and players and families of players and families of fan bases, right? All these injuries, they really affect people. So prayers up, salute, and moment of silence. And week 3, Mr. Adrian Revito, are you ready, brother?
I'm so ready that. Are you ready for this?
Oh, he brought
You
it
think
back.
even without even
He
without the
brought it
producer
back.
here, we got it
Ryan
going?
McFadden is alive and well, pitched down 17 semitones. We have the Tennessee Titans taking on the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. Browns are 3.5-point favorites. Adrian, give me your quick hit.
Yeah. So I mean, look, quick hit as in who am I taking? I'm taking the Titans here. It's hard to see the Browns being anything near what they were with that Nick Chubb. Uh, I was watching that game. Oh, nice. That was
ASMR crack.
love it.
Yeah,
I was watching that game and the Chubb was just unstoppable. If anyone was watching, you would
he's
have seen
so
him run
good.
for sort of 60, 70 odd yards. Adding to my disappointment is I had a multi or a parlay is the
Mm,
American phrase, I believe,
mhm.
where Chubb went over 100 yards, and that was the only one that didn't hit. Um,
Did they
obviously,
void that
so
leg, or did you
no,
lose the money?
now lose the
See,
money.
I place bets on platforms that void legs for injuries.
So I've got a couple that play that have voided because of year long injuries. So
Yeah.
as in where I've NFL futures, but single game now.
Oh yeah, my OBJ, my ROBJ bet is voided. OBJ's out.
Is it? It's a very convenient.
Convenient, right? As
um,
far as Titans and Browns goes, to me, Adrian, yes, the Nick Chubb injury is kind of like the rain cloud, right? But I think to me, what it's going to come down to is that elite Browns defense that we've seen through 2 weeks,
so
and
good.
that dog water quarterback play that we've seen from Ryan Tannehill, specifically in Week 1. I haven't forgotten it. I feel like I'm owed a written apology for having to watch it. Haven't gotten one yet. Um,
Invoicing the Titans.
but to me, it's easy money. I think Cleveland is gonna stomp Tennessee. That's my
I
prediction.
I agree with you that the Browns defense is just up there. Jim Schwartz, their new defensive coordinator, was probably the best signing they did this offseason. They
He's
went and
great.
got Kareem. They went and got Kareem Hunt. He knows the offense as well, so that will help them a little bit. Um, Tannehill was okay in week 2.
He was.
The Chargers defense only forced about 4 incompletions, if I'm not wrong, from him, which is ridiculous because the Chargers are meant to be. They've got a defensive head coach. Don't get
Yeah.
me started on Brandon Staley. I think the Browns will give him a harder time, but I also just Deshaun Watson is not. He's not getting back to where he was. I don't think he has
He's
come out
bad.
kind of yeah, and
Yeah.
it's sort of like all right, he hasn't played, but now he's had a full off season. How do you have Joshua Dobbs coming out outperforming you? Like
Yeah.
how does Brock
It's
Purdy get dropped
embarrassing.
in the middle of a season? So yeah, I think the Titans will do just enough. But if I was, as I am a betting man, bet the under
Mhm.
on this one. I can see this being a
Mm.
very low scoring game. They're going against
Yeah.
the top run D, so Titans obviously operate a little bit better on the ground than they do through the air.
Yep.
And Browns have the number 1 run defense in the league. So
Yeah, I think Derrick Henry could probably still muster up a good stat line because he's Derrick Henry, but I picture it being something like 25 for 71 and a touchdown sort of game.
yeah,
It's going to be ugly. It's going to be a slugfest. I think we're both picking Cleveland. I think I'm picking Cleveland to cover.
I'm going to pick the Browns. Oh, by the way, sorry, we didn't address. Where did you? Do you remember what your record was last week?
I believe so. I believe I was 9-7 the first week, and I believe I was 11-5 the second week.
11-5.
How
Hot
about you?
damn. So I was 9-7 first week, but I went 8-8. Rough week
Ooh,
for me. Like, yeah,
tough,
rough
tough
week for me.
picks. I went the other way on some good on some I kind of took some chances last week, and a lot of them paid off. Yeah, I will talk about these teams as we get to them. So let's keep it moving. But there's
Let's
going to
get
be
it going.
some, and this is one of the teams I was hoping we would talk about because Adrian, will the real Justin Herbert please stand up? Can I? I'm not going to victory lap, but
No, do it. I want you
is
to
he
lap.
that
I need
guy,
you to lap.
Adrian? Is he that guy? I mean, come on, man. Like
But
Titans,
the offense
Tannehill.
hasn't been the issue here. You have to acknowledge that. Like their offense has been okay. It's been
Where's the game
okay
winning
to above
drives?
average.
Where's the game winning drives, man? Overtime against
It's
Tannehill.
it's hard to fight without the results, but I still see him as I see Brandon Staley as the issue here. Can I
I
say?
agree. I agree, but I mean, as long as he's the head coach, that's the Justin Herbert we have to evaluate.
That's
You
true.
know, we
Look,
can't.
their offense has been above average. I'm going to say that. Their D is the
Yeah.
issue, and that is ridiculous. As I
Down
mentioned,
Eckler
Brandon Staley.
sucks for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's been confirmed out. He was looking like he was coming back, but he's been confirmed out. Kellen Moore's getting and moving down the field, which is nice. But their defense is ranked. All right,
They're
giving
terrible.
up giving up big plays, noting that they're going into a week against Justin Jefferson. Where do you think their defense ranks?
30, no, 28.
32.
I
They
was
are
close to the first
dead
time. Yeah.
last for giving up explosive plays, and they're
Yeah.
going in. Look, Jordan Addison's been great as well, so they can't just
Yeah.
worry about Justin Jefferson. TJ Hawkinson's always going to be a
Yeah.
bit of it, especially in the red zone. Um, I this is gonna be a sneaky big game for the Vikings, I think, and one of these teams is going on 3,
Yeah. Who's it going to
and
be?
that's not a place to be. Well, who do you think? I'm taking the Vikings here.
Yeah, I'm taking the Vikings as well. And I don't feel good about, actually, God, it's so hard to pick I think I'm going to take the Chargers. I think I'm going to take the Chargers because the Vikings are just as bad defensively. I mean, maybe not literally just as bad, but they're two of the
Yeah.
worst defenses in the league. So I absolutely could see Herbert having a get right game here. And I'm projecting a shootout. Take the over on this one.
Oh, for
All
sure.
your DFS plays should be from this game. I don't hate a full lineup of just guys from this game because it could be 42 to 38 type game.
Yeah, and I look, and I think if I come down to it, and sometimes I tend to over evaluate or over emphasize coaching, but to me, Brian Flores is more trustworthy to cook something up to actually stop a couple drives than Brandon Staley at the moment.
Yeah. So let's do this. I'll say 42-38 Chargers. And for the first game, I'll say 24-13 Cleveland. You make your picks.
Oof. Okay. So
Gotta go
Chargers,
scores here
Vikings.
so we can
Yeah, yeah.
get through that.
All right, Vikings 33-27,
Okay.
and the Titans Browns. This is going to be an ugly game. God, all right, I'm going to say the Titans Browns is going to be 16-3.
Holy
Like
wow.
ugly, ugly game.
Holy
Field
wow.
goals all
So
over
you're
the
betting
shop.
the under on the Henry Tutty bet.
Yep. I'm gonna no. Well, they can get one tud. So
No,
he'd be one
didn't you
and a half.
say 3? Didn't you say
No,
3?
16-3 Titans. Wait,
Oh, I thought you had Cleveland. I thought you picked Cleveland.
no, Titans. No, I picked Titans
Oh,
for sure.
I picked Cleveland.
You picked the yeah. No,
I
no,
thought you
I
picked
can't see
Cleveland
them
too.
without Chubb. I can't see them having that same game.
Yeah, I'm saying 24-13 Cleveland, even without
All right,
Chubb. All right,
let's move it
keep
on.
it moving. All right, Patriots at Jets. I'll take the lead on this one, good sir.
Take it away.
We got Joey Crack in the chat telling us that Danny Dump is not a real QB in this league. He's played 2 out of the 3 best defenses in the NFL, Joseph. Let's give the man a moment.
I love
Patriots
the optimism.
Very on brand for AI Kev. Patriots -2.5 at Jets. Okay, so this game is an interesting one. I think it's going to be a defensive slugfest. I would absolutely stream each the Patriots or the Jets defense in fantasy if you have them. I'm inclined to think that as long as Zach Wilson is the quarterback of the Jets, they're going to be almost impossible to pick to win any games. I will take a 16-3 Patriots defeat of the Jets. Patriots 16, Jets 13.
Well, so yeah, you're so right on this, and I'll give you a couple of stats here. So Zach Wilson against Bill Belichick's played 4 times, the last 4 games, 2 TD to 7 interceptions, 50%
Yikes.
pass completion rate. He really, really does struggle. Like the Jets fans are that meme where it's like, "Stop, he's already dead." Like that's
Yeah.
Jets fans. It's like they've got
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers now. They've got
So
Zach. So,
sad.
and then now they've got Zach Wilson, and they played. So they play Cowboys. Sorry, I lie. They played the Bills, then the Cowboys, then the Pats. They lose Aaron Rodgers in the first game. They get trounced by the Cowboys, and now they've got Bill Belichick to worry about. And he tends to own these matchups against the Jets, but in general, where there's like an obvious weakness, I feel like Bill Belichick is the kind that really plays on that. Some people feel like it might be too obvious to go this way, but Bill Belichick does it really, really well. For the Jets to have any chance here, they need to give Brees Hall more than 4 touches. That's
For
ridiculous.
real. Yeah, exactly. Because the thing is, Brees Hall is the kind of special player that can win a matchup even that's not favorable. And they didn't utilize him at all against Dallas, and he was upset about it. And right now, with Sauce Gardner deleting his social media and Brees Hall tweeting out 4 football emojis, you don't have the room to be playing Russian roulette with your star players. Make them happy, okay? Because this season is lost. I'm so sorry, Robert Saleh. I think you're a great coach. I think you're a great leader-ish. But this season is lost. So salvage the egos, salvage the vibes, because you're not going to be able to salvage the wins and losses. It's that simple to me.
And with Rodgers saying he's got a potential to come back for the playoffs, like you need to get there first. Zach Wilson, you need to do something here to show you've kind of grown over this offseason. So I will still take the Patriots. I'll take it 17-20, 20 to the Patriots.
Yeah, so we
I
both
think it's
have
gonna
Patriots winning by 3.
Yeah,
So
I think there's a
covering.
good chance of a defensive score on both sides of the ball here. And I am very keen to see Christian Gonzalez up against Garen Wilson. I
Dude,
reckon it's
he's a
going to be an
dog.
awesome little matchup.
Gonzalez is a
Yeah,
dog.
he
Yeah,
is.
he's
And
taking
so
the
that's
league
going
by
to be a great
4.
matchup.
Yeah. Thomas, what's up? Great to see you in the chat. We love you, Thomas. I would say my X factor for the Patriots when they have the ball, can Mac Jones play turnover-free football? I'm betting against it. I am putting parlays down with a Mac Jones pick in the lineup, and I'm also thinking that Ramondre might be the only Patriot offensive weapon that is worth starting in fantasy. Any rebuttals?
I think both of their O lines are terrible. So even like the run game, and that's Brees Hall as well. Like they're not going to do fantastic here because the gaps are not going to be opened up for him. But yeah, I like the idea of having Mac with the pick in there, even though he's been a little better at protecting the ball.
Not so
Yeah.
much against Philly, but in general, yes.
I think he's making some better decisions now that he's got a better coach. But I do think that this is going to be just defenses stomping.
Yeah, it's gonna be nasty. All right, Adrian, let's keep it moving. Texans at Jaguars. Jaguars are 8.5-point favorites. Adrian, take the lead on this one, my brother.
All right, so CJ Stroud has been playing better than any other rookie QB on the stat line. Like sometimes he's making some bad choices, but stat line, he's doing well. He's over 300 yards, threw for nearly 400 yards with a shoulder injury. They're without their offensive tackle Laramie Tunsil here, so that's going to make it a little hard for him. He already last week was hit 9 times, sacked 6 times against the Colts. So CJ Stroud's in for, I think he's going to be in for a long day against the Texans. Sorry, going blank here. CJ Stroud is going to be in for a long game against the Jaguars. Nico Collins has been great. He's turned it up. 146 yards and a tud last week. And the Jags, as I mentioned earlier in the show, their offense has really started to stifle. And the Chiefs' defense is not special, even with Chris Jones there. For them to hold them to sort of 9 points, I don't super believe in the Jags as a powerhouse. I was on Jags' corner.
They were crowned that prior to the season. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was on that. I was dying on that hill. I was like, the Jags are coming out. MVP candidate Lawrence. I'm still going to take the Jags here. Their rookie tackle Anton Harrison, he struggled a lot. He hopefully does a little bit more against the Texans. I'm going to take the Jags here, and I'm going to say 27-21.
Oh, I like that. A little closer.
I'm going to put the Texans in for 3 touchdowns.
He's got the Texans covering. I like that. Yeah, I'm looking at how Lawrence responds to an early season. I'll say slump. I'll go out on a limb and say slump. A lot less of the firepower and greatness than was expected from the prince who was promised. I'm looking for a big ETN game here. Texans are horrible at stopping the run, historically bad, and they have been for years. And Tank Bigsby had 0 touches last week. The guy who was supposed to take away ETN's fantasy value had 0 touches last week. So give me Travis Etienne over. I don't care what the line is. I'm taking over. I like Etienne as a talent, and I like him to have I'll say a breakout game for this season. Even though he had a pretty solid week 1. I agree with Joe. He's looking out for a big game from Tank Dell. And he's happy that I on brand made my Game of Thrones reference. I will probably go out there. You guys know the Texans are my boys. And so Age picks him to cover. I feel like I have to pick them to cover as well.
Are you going to do it?
Though,
You're going to take the Texans?
I can't take him to win, unfortunately. I'd love to. There's just too many holes, especially on defense.
That's a disrespectful line, 8.5, though. I'm going to say it.
It's super disrespectful. Yeah,
they haven't been terrible.
And I liked your analysis that Stroud is the best of the rookie QBs. Oh, Armand placed an all tank parlay. We love to see that, Armand. So that means I'll say that I'm going to go with. I like your score, but I'll go with 34-30 Jaguars.
Wow, okay.
34-30 Jaguars, and I think it'll be a backdoor cover from the Texans. I don't think they'll be, in it at the end. I think maybe CJ Stroud is going to be known as the garbage man by the end of the season because his 300-yard games are very inflated by garbage time. Just throwing that out there.
That's fair.
Um,
I do feel this week, and as we go through this, we'll see this. I do feel like there's some harder to pick upsets. There's a lot of big lines, and it feels
yeah,
like I'm picking all favorites here. I don't want to
yeah.
go that. I like to sometimes throw an upset, but
You're picking some covers. That's fine. That counts. Oh, here we go, baby. This is my expertise right
times
here. In case you
perfectly.
can't tell, anybody who's listened to the show for more than 5 minutes knows, because I can't shut up about how much I love the Bills, how much I love Josh Allen. I try to keep homerism out of analysis, and I'll say I feel pretty damn good about that. I came on here and I tore Josh a new one after week 1. And I'm now going to do the opposite of that, and I'm going to tear myself a new one. No, not really. I predicted a
Going to
bounce back.
reattach his torn
Yeah,
one.
I'm
You're
gonna
gonna sew it up.
reattach
Yeah.
his one. No, dude, what a phenomenal performance last week against the Raiders. People who are saying it's the Raiders, okay, but you can only play who's in front of you, and you can be great and not throw for 31 out of 37 passes and 274 yards and 3 touchdowns and no turnovers. That's an exceptionally great game. He won AFC Offensive Player of the Week, more AFC Offensive Player in the weeks than anyone else since he entered the league in 2018. He's a special player. Anybody who knows football knows that. The Commanders' defense is pretty darn good, like sneaky good, better than a lot of people probably think. Where they're susceptible right now is the run. So I am definitely looking for a big game from James Cook, Baby Cook, as you guys know, I've affectionately
Your
dubbed
boy.
him. And Baby Cook had a baby. Adrian, you and him are in
Did
the
he?
same boat, new fathers. And I saw this on Twitter. I think this is kind of like I don't know if this is a universally known sports thing, but I saw it from some of the Barstool guys. They were saying, anytime a guy has a baby, bet the touchdown parlay. Bet the anytime touchdown parlay. The first week of fatherhood parlay, basically. Throw the
Loves
anytime
loves to
touchdown.
dedicate a loves to
Because
dedicate a ball to the new
you know
baby
he's going to score and do this, right? You just know it. Like there's like an
every
85%
time.
chance. So I'm hammering the Baby Cook touchdown. I like the yards. I think Diggs is going to have a huge game. It's his hometown. Diggs is a DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia guy. So I think Diggs is going to have a huge game, which I think in turn leads me to believe Josh will have a huge game. Now I want to talk about this 2-0 team across from them, Adrian, because if you told me prior to the season that one of these teams would be 2-0 and one of these teams would be 1-1, I would have had it flipped, and I'm sure most people would. Is the Commanders 0-2, Adrian, a product of 2-0? Is it a product of being a good team, or is it a product of facing the Cardinals and the Broncos? Let's talk about that.
Well, so it's an interesting one, right? Because they were getting beaten by the Cardinals and they were down 21-3 to the Broncos. So they've had to come back both games, but they did. Sam
They
Howell's
did.
playing good. He has made some great
He is.
throws. He really is like a gunslinger.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of like a Brett Favre where he's just throwing it all the way down, like a Russ Wilson. Beautiful deep ball, but he's going to make some mistakes because he's still young.
Yeah.
I think they deserve the wins, right? Because I think their defense has taken them there. I don't think their offense deserves a 2-0. While you were talking about their run there, I was just looking up their rankings. So their pass rush is ranked 7th, run defense is ranked 19th. So I think that your boy Baby Cook is going to have a big game here. Look, the Commanders have been fun to watch. And when's the last time we've said that? Like, when's the last time we thought the Commanders are great? So
Gotta be happy for them, for sure.
yeah, I'm enjoying watching them. I don't know how long they're going to hold out on this because they could be exposed this week quite easily, for what they are. I will say, and I'm just looking up the Bills rankings, who have the 3rd run defense and 11th pass rush. And 3rd in pass coverage. I think that there's going to be a lot of picks here. So I trust the Bills to sort of eat. I'm obviously going to pick the Bills here. I'll come up with the score in a sec.
Are they covering?
What have we got? 6.5? Oof. Yes.
Me too. I think so too. I'm going to go with 34-21. This is my official score. Maybe I'll give the Commanders an extra field goal. I'll say 34-24.
Okay.
Yeah, and Joe's respectfully afraid of Brian Robinson Jr. Brian Robinson's been looking unbelievable. Really, really nice to see his bounce back because, there were times in his rookie year where he looked a little sus. He did come back from being shot, so let's give the man a lot of credit. I think McLaurin has a chance to have a big game, but I do believe in the Bills secondary quite a lot. I just think, just like Devontae did last week, I think great receivers will have great games against, teams. It just happens, even if you have a good defense. So Yeah, Adrian, score
Yeah. I will give it a 30-17. Not going to pay a lot
30
to the
17.
Bills.
I
I
like
just
that.
feel like the Bills. I feel like the Bills really, they're the kind of team, and Josh Allen in particular is the kind of competitor that he has that one bad week, and he just wants to come up and shut everyone up, and he's done that
Yeah,
in week 2, and I
yeah,
just see him continuing that.
yeah.
In
They've
fact,
turned the corner. Yeah,
I put the Bills in the Super Bowl before the season, and I still
you
stand
did
by that. I know the
good.
Dolphins are looking great, but
Yeah,
I still put the Bills there.
I put the Bengals in it, so looking not great for me right now. Let's keep this thing moving. Colts at Ravens. Oh, Joe's got 28-9 Bills. That's kind of a. I wonder if that's a scoregami there. You know what scoregami is, Adrian?
Loves the scoregami. Yeah,
So
yeah,
fun. Love score. For those who don't know, it's they keep track of every NFL score that's ever happened, and anytime a score happens for the first time, where it's never been like the same score, like for example, 28-9,
yeah.
then that's a scoregami, and it happens every year. You're always like, when are they going to run out of scores? But they never will, to be honest.
Weirdly
Yeah.
keeps happening.
Colts at Ravens. Ravens are 8.5-point favorites at home. Tragic that we lost Anthony Richardson for this game. Has been
Yeah.
ruled out. Absolute gut punch for those who were enjoying him. The Colts fans, the fantasy fans. He was on his way to setting some crazy, probably records, I would say, last week with 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. If I'm remembering correct, 2 rushing touchdowns in the first quarter,
Could be right on
almost
that.
50 yards. He's gonna be such a fun player to watch in this league. So this game kind of loses a little bit of its steam for me. I think the Ravens. Actually, I'm gonna give you the lead on this one. Jump in, Age.
Yeah, so look, the Ravens have been better than Tom Monken. They've improved. They were ranked 23rd and 20th in the previous 2 years. They're now ranked 8th in passing offense. So look, and that I think that shows on the field. I am victory lapping here. Can I victory lap? You know what? I'm not gonna ask permission.
100%.
I'm gonna victory
Yeah,
lap.
don't. Yeah.
OBJ. That's it. That I've got that. You know what? I'll say this. He's injured, right? And we said our bet was the first 7 weeks. I'll say his first 7 playing games. In fact, I might even say all year. He's done, dude. You know
Done.
what? Not look, sorry, Dunn's a bit harsh,
I
but
was gonna
he's just
say.
not a difference maker. He's not a
Yeah.
difference maker. There's some injuries for the Ravens. Odell's out, as we know. Tyler Linderbaum, their center, Ronnie Stanley, their left tackle. So their line is going to be under a bit of pressure. And then they've got Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Williams in the secondary as well. I look, the Colts haven't got a great defense, so I feel like they can probably hold up. I'll take the Ravens here. Richardson's backup Minshew. I'm not
Yeah.
incorrect in thinking
Correct.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Minshew's
that
good. Good backup.
yeah. It's so he can hold his own. I think. So look, I'll take the Ravens, but I'll take it in 24-21. I'll keep it closer. But
Oh,
I,
you
I
got
think
the
eight and a
Colts
half.
covering.
Well, I think Minshew's good enough, and I don't think the Raven. Look, I'm still not in on the Ravens. I know they've played okay. I know they're 2-0. I'm just not in on them. That's all it is. So for
Yeah.
me, I think the Colts will keep it closer than we expect.
Yeah, I had a guest from Buffalo Sports Radio, WGR, Mike Shope, on my other podcast, and he actually went on a rant. It was amazing about how and it's on the socials. He The Ravens are so underrated, bro, and they're 2-0, and people are still not giving them the credit they deserve. It's weird, right? Bengals are 0-2, and people are still saying that they are going to win the division and slam the Bengals plus 440 to win the North, and it's like, when will the Ravens get the credit they deserve? They're 2-0. They have Bengals have 2 division losses, and yet you would think that the Ravens make the playoffs every year.
But the Ravens, to me, are like the Cowboys, where we get to week 5 and we're talking about them as a superpower, and then you get to week 10 and you're just like,
That's fair.
what happened? Like
No,
they don't
it's fair.
put together 17 games like this. That's all I'll say.
No,
And they
it's
haven't
super fair.
historically before MVP Lamar season. That's the only year. Since then, they just don't put it together for 17 games.
And even then, they got sent home early. Buffalo sent them home the year after in the playoffs. Like, I mean, are they ever going to get over the hump? It's kind of similar to Herbert, honestly, but maybe they're a little bit more accomplished, I'll say. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think the Ravens defense is too good. However banged up they are, I think the Ravens defense is too good for a backup quarterback to make that much of an impact. I think it's going to be 31-17 Ravens. So I don't have the Colts covering.
What do you reckon we keep it going? Because I feel like we're a lot of games to talk about still. We haven't got Anthony keeping us on. And haven't got Anthony keeping us on.
Oh, it's all good. We can speed it up a little bit, but I'm having a great time.
As always.
So Falcons at Lions. Lions are 3-point favorites at home. Adrian, this is your team, so I'm gonna let you talk Talk me through this.
So, all right. So I'm gonna let me just cue up some sound effects to emulate our producer, who's unfortunately not here. I
We
think the
miss him.
Falcons cover. Yeah, but we do, and so in his honor, I'm going to play this. I think the Falcons kill him here. He had his first in a long time that went for a pick six. He hasn't got his left tackle. They're so banged up. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson with a suspected torn pec. He might be out for the season. He's
So
definitely out.
sad.
That sucks. Emmanuel Mosley injured. Jameer Gibbs has had 7 touches on the run each of the last 2 games. Like
So
I,
stupid.
I respect the Lions and I like the Lions more than I should for a division competitor. But I just think that if you can't make Ritter make the mistakes through the passing game, their run game is going to eat no matter what. Like and I'm not just saying that because we played against them last week and previous. Even last year, they had one of the number 1 rushing in the league.
Oh
With
yeah,
Mariota.
lethal.
Yeah, he made Marcus Mariota look like a good runner. As I mentioned, Bijan is just like a revelation. So I said at the start of the show, McCaffrey's the number 1 running back in the league. That could change by the end of the year. I could see Bijan being that guy because he's just like superhuman. The Lions have got an okay D line, but they got their work cut out from here. And I think if they can't force mistakes through the secondary, I think that the Falcons are going to eat. I think this is going to be 24-7.
I like it. It's extreme. It's really extreme. And Anthony his ears are ringing wherever he is right now.
Sorry, man.
He's got throw up in his mouth and he has no idea why. Adrian, I'm gonna tell you my thoughts on this game because I think this game kind of reminds me of like, do you ever play Pokemon? Do you guys have Pokemon in Australia?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Do you guys still call it Pokemon?
Yeah. That's like Pokemon or some weird like.
I kind of feel like this game is a matchup between like a fire Pokemon and a water Pokemon, right? Like if you see a water Pokemon go up against like a stronger water Pokemon, you know the stronger water Pokemon is going to crush them because they're just stronger. But this is like fire and water, and you don't like they cancel each other out. The Falcons are ground and pound, play good defense, ignore the weapons, and try to milk the clock with your 50 carries a game between your 3 players that handle the football. The Lions are the opposite. They're nitrous in your tank. I'm going to try to air it out. I'm going to try to beat you with sheer finesse and beauty through the air, while the Falcons are more of a power team. And Dan Campbell is aggression and biting kneecaps, and Artie Smith is just, we won't beat ourselves. Good luck beating us when we don't beat ourselves. So I feel like the question is going to become which element overpowers the other one on this Sunday. I'm excited for it.
That's just hard-hitting analysis right there. Pokemon comparisons.
That's really what the folks are coming to Legit Football for. We've known
mostly
that.
for the Pokemon part, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to call you out here. I don't know if you're a huge Pokemon fan, but water would always beat the fire because it was the weakness.
But I hear you. But like as a kid, I know that that's like technically true. There's like the Pokemon flowcharts, but as a kid, I was always like, but why can't you just heat the water? Like, why can't you just evaporate? You know what I mean? I know technically, but like
you were picking Charmander at the start. Let's be honest, though.
Oh, 100%. Are you kidding? Or Squirtle. Those were my 2. I would rotate.
Yeah. No one's picking the Leaf ones.
I'm gonna pick the Lions to win and to cover. I'm gonna pick Lions. Lions 24, Falcons 20.
Okay.
Let's keep it moving. We're crushing this.
And the thing is, actually, and before we just move on, it could go either way. I'm so aware of that. I just think that it's only because of the injuries. I feel like they kind of exposed themselves a little bit, the Lions here, that I feel like the Falcons, that as long as if Desmond Ridder has a good game, and when I make good, I just mean he doesn't give it up, he doesn't make stupid decisions, and he doesn't dink and dunk. They will do well. They really are. They've got a good team around him for that reason. So,
and after the Lions were crowned the kings in the North, another Game of Thrones reference. That's kind of weird how if Kadarius Toney just swats every single pass that's thrown to him straight to the ground, the Lions would be 0-2 right now. So
yeah, correct.
Kings in the North.
Speaking of the Kings of the North,
here we go. The actual Kings in the North, right? My Saints. I've kind of championed the Saints this season. I love Derek Carr. The Saints are my pick to win the NFC South. Very, very unpopular opinion. They're not as sexy as the Falcons. They're not as rootable and charming as Baker and the ragtag Bucks, but they're 2-0. And however ugly it is, they're winning games. I will let you take the lead. I just wanted to puff my chest up a little bit about my 2-0 Saints really quick before I let you talk about your team. Go crazy.
Oh, in an attempt to be non-homerism, I'm going to start by talking about the Saints as well. It sucks because Jamal Williams is out. It sucks for them. Sucks great for us. Because I've always been a big Jamal Williams fan. Alvin Kamara's obviously out. The Saints D have been playing fantastic. Top 5 in points allowed, top 5 in yards allowed. Much better than their pedigree. And I don't know if you saw Olave's catch last week, which
Oh,
was
unbelievable.
one of the catches of the year.
Beautiful.
Yeah, ridiculous. So where they've struggled is the red zone. And I think that I think it's going to be another defensive game. Because I like Derek Carr, and I've always been with you on this, and they're a little higher than consensus, but he's found the end zone twice. He's had more interceptions than touchdowns. I don't know. Look, to his defense, he's in a new system, his new team, new city. Give him some time to get the rust off there.
Right.
On the Packers side of the ball, Jones is not confirmed yet out, but I think he will be at his back at practice.
Really? He's playing, right? Jones is playing, right?
I think he's questionable still.
What do you think, though? Do you have a lean?
Look, to be honest with you, I don't have a good feeling about it. I think
I have a lean that he's going to play. I believe he's going to play.
While I'm talking, I might just check their latest news.
Yeah, see if there's any Friday injury reports. That's always a good indicator.
Yeah, so they've got some other injuries here while we're talking about it. So Bakhtiari is questionable as he always is. Jenkins is out. That's been upgraded. Jai Alexander is questionable. So there's some defensive questions here. Watson, who and I love Watson, but he's just turned into like one of those explosive receiver glass bones. Always seems to be injured.
Right.
Saints have the 5th best pass rush. Now, previously, this is going to be probably the best test we've seen for Jordan Love because Atlanta had no pass rush. The Bears are literally ranked last.
Yeah.
So he's had time, and he's had 3 touchdowns, no interceptions both games. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can hold that sort of line. I don't expect that he will. I think maybe even 2-1 is a win for him in this game.
Oh, hell yeah.
But he's playing great. You know what? I've got to say that we don't need to go to the Super Bowl this season. We don't need to go to the playoffs this season. What I've seen from Jordan Love, I'm happy with. And to me, that's what you want to see. You want to see him come in and do well. He's just quietly the number 1 passer rating in the league. Just saying. I'm picking the Packers here as I always do, but that's only because look, I say this a lot. I wish cast with my picks, and if I can't in good faith pick the Saints, even though I think they'll probably take this one.
You do actually. Oh, I see. I'm with you. I love the Saints and I puff my chest about them, but that was just to throw you off the scent, bro. I got the Packers winning this football game as well. I think 27-20. I got the Packers winning this football game.
I think this. Well, they're gonna. Okay, yeah, 1.5 line. I think they'll cover. And I will say, I'll say 20-13. I think this is going to be a defensive game.
Yeah,
that might have. Did I have another score? 20-13. I'm going to stick with 20.
Yeah, I mean, I'm realizing when you pick games, it's hard because you want to pick games that are like kind of in the realm of possibilities, and usually that means somewhere between 17 and 30 points. Like, predicting lower than 17 or higher than 30, it kind of gets you a little bit of that weird, no man's land of like you're kind of calling your shot a little bit there. So I think I respect if you got duplicate picks, all good. We're gonna
all right.
Yeah, let's keep it moving, crushing this. Go Pack, go.
Love it.
Broncos,
big game,
were in my opinion, the frauds of the offseason. I heard so much about how things were going to be different for them, and I just poo-pooed it. And now I feel like a genius. At Dolphins, who are 6.5-point favorites, this can be a quicker conversation to me. I think the Dolphins are going to dog walk the Broncos. I don't see any sort of a fight out of them. If anything, I think maybe they'll put up some yards and maybe make it look a little better than it is, but the Dolphins D is awesome. Tua and Tyreek are great, dialed in. No Waddle for this game, so it'll be interesting to see where the Dolphins go with their ancillary weapons. I'd love to see Raheem Mostert have another great game. I'd love to see Devon Achane get some looks. I've been waiting for him to have like a breakout game or even just like any sort of a role at all, because right now it's kind of looking like that's not the case, which bums me out. Joe's calling for a Broncos upset. I'll bet you a cold brew that doesn't happen. Adrian, just to make this one quick for me, I'll just give you my score now and I'll let you go. I'm going to say Miami, I'm going to say 34, and I'm going to say Denver 13.
Excellent. I love everything you said there. I have to say, and it's just going back, but doing this semi-producing, dropping in things is
Yeah,
hard because I'm not
it
paying
is.
attention to the comments. But Joe Holland is bringing some comedy into here. Can I
Oh, he's the
just
GOAT.
say?
No, he's
Oh,
Joey Crack he's always gonna bring the fire to the legit chat, 100%. We gotta
that
get
is
him on one of these shows, Age. We gotta get him
100%.
on one of these shows.
AJ Hawk sits down when he feels that's that's
Just
objectively funny.
disrespect.
So all right,
Flagrant.
yeah, look, I think that this is a really, really terrible matchup for the Broncos. They're going against the Dolphins and they're ranked 20th in pass rush, 19th in pass defense, and the Dolphins are number 1 in passing. As we know, Tyreek Hill has made both of us eat some crow, and now he's not a top 5
Yeah.
wide receiver take.
Yeah.
The Broncos right tackle Mike McGlinchey, that was for them, it was a big time signing. He got paid in the offseason. But he's taken on a young pass rusher in Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins. I think that he's going to have his work cut out. I think Russ is going to be chased out of the pocket a lot. And I don't think they're going to be able to stop the Dolphins attack. So to me, I actually think the Broncos will do better. I think 6.5 is a pretty disrespectful line. So I think the Broncos will cover the line, but I think the Dolphins are taking this one in a shootout. And I think I'm going to put 36-33.
Holy crap, Adrian.
Look, I'm not out on. I think the Broncos have played better than their stat lines. If you've only read the stat lines, the defense has been the problem, and that will be the problem this game. But the offense has been okay. I know that they lost a commanding lead last week, but they pulled off
Pun
a Hail
intended.
Mary. Yes, absolutely. They pulled off a Hail Mary. Failed the 2-point conversion to bring it even. So Russ looks better. I've been the resident. Russ is going to be good this year. I just refuse to believe that everything he was prior to last year is all erased by that dumpster fire inside of dumpster fireception that was Russell Wilson last year.
Right. Well, I already dunked on you with my initial analysis. I didn't know I was dunking on you because I had neglected to recall that you were one of the big Russell guys of the offseason. But that being said, my thoughts on Russell Wilson are like, I work at a steakhouse, right? I talk about this a lot.
This is a cooked one. This is
if
cooked.
Ryan Tannehill is well done and you shouldn't have brought him to the table, I think Russell Wilson is medium well. And I'm like, okay, I guess I could see why you might think that if you cut into the steak, it's not too overcooked. But ultimately, I would make the call if especially if it's like a table I don't get great vibes from. I ain't bringing him that medium well steak. I'm gonna go back to the cooks before I even send it out and say, hey, I think you overcooked this one. Let me get another one. Right.
And it's kind of like, why would you order a medium well steak? Like, you obviously don't like steaks. So, and Sean Payton ain't a big steak fan. I don't think he's holding Russell Wilson if he doesn't play even better than he's been doing. I don't think he's keeping Russell Wilson around, but I don't know. I'm a big, and this is a theme of me that I think I've held through this show is like, I'm a big underdog fan. Like when Russell Wilson just went in the tank, I actually didn't like that because he was on trajectory for Hall of Fame, and that's kind of not to say that he's not, but it's kind of all been erased by 1 year at the Broncos. So I like the story of him coming back, just like I like Baker Mayfield playing better than he was. So I don't want to believe that he's going to be the same person he was last year. And so far, he's proved me. I think he's proved me right, and it's totally okay to dunk on me on that because no one likes a show where the podcast
looks
just
better.
approves each other. He looks better.
He looks better for sure, but I still think fade all day to me. You ready to move on to the next matchup?
Let's do it.
All right, good, sir. I'm going to let you take the lead on this one, and I'm going to let you talk to the listeners, and I'll be right back. All right?
You do it.
All right.
So thank you very much. So let me talk to everyone here, and I'm just going to read through the comments real quick to see if there's anything that we need to bring up. No, that's okay. So Bryce Young is not expected to start here, which is good news, I guess, for the Panthers because I think Andy Dalton gives them a better chance. But it's not a good thing for the Panthers in the long term. I think Young needs reps to grow. So whilst I think that they've got a better chance to even look, the line of 5.5 went up with Young going out, but that to me is a little disrespectful. I think Andy Dalton played well last year. So I think he gives them a better chance to be able to win. But I think that Young needs the reps. His weapons around him have been the biggest issue this year. So if you think about, let me paint you guys a word picture. Let me take you back to when Justin Fields, Coffee Shop Sports, thank you for that. I'm going to bring that up because I've got all the power here. You know what? Kevin cannot stop me. I can play whatever sounds I want. And if he doesn't like that, I got bad news for you, mate. I can play my own AI. I can even bring him in. So I think that the Panthers will do better than we expect here. I got bad news for you, mate. No, wrong one.
I love the optimism.
right? But it is a problem that they can't run a QB sneak with Bryce Young in the lineup. That to me is an issue. Obviously, the one they're going to face this week. Now the Seahawks are probably not playing up to where they should be. I think JSN hasn't had the production he should have despite his back. I had you covered with AI.
I got bad news for you, mate.
Yeah. So JSN has had more separation per route than any other player this year. The Seahawks offense is running ranking third in passing and rushing, so their O-line holds up okay despite the injuries there. I like the Seahawks to win this one. DK Metcalf does have a rib injury. That's something to monitor, but I like the Seahawks to win here. I like them to cover. In fact, I'm going to say just cover 26-20.
I like it. Oh, and I like the score prediction. I think, yeah, I like we're getting some weird, unique numbers in there. It always makes me happy. 26 points. Doesn't happen often. Panthers at Seahawks. Andy Dalton's playing in this one. Correct me if I'm wrong. No Bryce Young for this game.
Yep.
So I almost wonder if that's better for the Panthers at this stage of Bryce Young's development. He looks not great. A lot of people are dunking on him and talking like, oh, bust. And it's like, bro, it has been 2 games. I need the world to take a collective breath on their hot takes. I understand that hot takes are part of sports analysis and part of fandom, but we need to relax with the dunking and the victory lapping. And you and I will do it, but only when we call our shot, right? A lot of people are just so reactionary, and a great game means you're the best player, and a bad game means you're the worst player. It's like you gotta look between the lines a little bit. So yes, Bryce Young has had a couple stink fests. Yes, he was the first overall pick. No, his career isn't over. No, he's not a bust. But I almost wonder if we'll have a chance to see the Panthers for what they could be if they had a little bit more of a semblance of leadership and consistency.
I mentioned actually that I think Andy Dalton is going to give them a better chance to win here, but it's actually not good news because Bryce Young is not a bust. He needs those reps to be able 100%. To grow. So
yeah, and it's the tale as old as time, right? Do you start a rookie QB right off the bat? Do you let them? I've seen a lot of the times rookie QBs who get hurt and come back often have a lot more of a perspective and grip on the game, and they can handle the speed and process it a little bit. They know what they're up against. I feel like a little bit better. So,
what's weird about that narrative though is now the number of QBs that have started in bad situations and have gone to S, it's like that is a tale as old as time. And the ones that have, there's not many that have sat, but Aaron Rodgers sat, Jordan Love, who's come out, sat, Patrick Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith. I'm trying to think of some other good examples, but when they have had the ability to sit,
Rodgers sat.
It actually, so it tends to work out well for the organization. It's just often that organization doesn't have that kind of leeway to be able to say, all right, we'll start Andy Dalton for a year.
Right.
Because you used the first round pick, you used the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
You expect it to come in ready to go. But to me, there's some benefit to it, as you're saying.
Yeah. And I think, Will Levis and Malik Willis are examples of that. And, and I think to the contrary, when you come in a bad situation, if you're not mentally strong, it can break you. Darnold, Wilson, Baker, you have to be super, super. Joe, I'll say really quick on Adam Thielen. He asks what kind of steak Adam Thielen is. I'll say he's an aged steak, but he's still cooked medium rare on the inside. He's aged and he's charred. So, there again, semblance of cooked, but you cut beneath that thick grizzly top, and there's still some bloody steak, and there's still some good meat in there, I think.
See, I think he's like a tofu steak. Like at this point, is he even steak anymore? But he still gives you some nutrients. But is he even steak anymore?
That's funny. So I like Geno. I like the Seahawks passing attack in this matchup. I think I'm gonna go with a 31-20 game here for Seattle over the Panthers. Let's keep it moving here.
Do it.
Bears at Chiefs 12.5. Another quick one here.
We got 2 in a row here.
Bears
we
have
could
been
probably speed round.
Poopy caca, and there's no other word to describe them. Justin Fields looks regressed. He does not look like the player we saw for stretches last year. Hopefully he can put it together. Hopefully the play callers can put it together because they're not putting him in favorable positions. Chiefs have looked pretty average. So we'll need to see them sort of put together a good game here. And it's sort of a no excuses kind of game for the Chiefs. They need to win this game by more than 13 points if we want to be confident in them the way we've been in the past. And I think we'll see that. I'm personally predicting Chiefs 38, Chicago 10.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. We can make this a quick one because I think it is going to be ridiculous. I am going to say, if only someone had the foresight to call Justin Fields, not that guy.
He
But
was he did say
uh,
that.
yeah,
I
and
was
look, I
wrong.
mean, yeah, look, and to be honest, the Bears are feeling a bit Browns-esque at the moment, where it's just one thing after another, and they're just not
That's
playing
right.
up. Justin Fields criticizing the coaches, then walking it back. Their DC had his house raided, and then resigned. So anyway, they're a bit of a hot mess at the moment, so we don't need to go too much on them.
Bad vibes.
Yeah, Mahomes is going to have all day. As I mentioned, the Bears are ranked last in pass rush. He's going to have all day. And if you give an average QB all day, he does well. You give Mahomes all day, you've got no hope. Kelsey's back. And I don't think he did catch a tud last week, but I don't think he made his presence as felt as normal. I expect that will change this week.
Yeah.
So I am going to call do I want to call a shutout? No, that's calling my shot too much. Let's call it 31-3. What did you say?
I like
30-3?
I said 38 to 10. So I like 31 to 3.
Yeah, I don't see the Bears putting much up on the board here.
No. All right, let's keep it moving.
Speaking of 12.5 lines.
Oh, here we go. Another one. Same situation. Age, I'll let you take the lead on this one.
All right. So the Cardinals have played better than we expected them to. They've been in the games, which we did not expect them to. But it just seems like the Cowboys are just such a well put together team. Their defense, I rave about them every show that we talk about. They're the number one defense in the league. Micah Parsons is insane. I don't know if you saw this headline, but he's been taking snaps as tight end in practice. He's just like every position on the field. He's just such an athlete. Now, to be fair, they've also had some layups. They've been against Daniel Jones, Zach Wilson. Now they've got Josh Dobbs. They're likely going to romp. I think every week they could be in contention to put a shutout unless they're playing a select few teams, because I just feel like their defense is so elite. But to give some credit to their offense, their offense has been playing well as well. They're quite a well-oiled machine. Dak Prescott has been playing better. CeeDee Lamb just looks like a man possessed on the field. It sucks that they've lost Trayvon Diggs. He's out for the season.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, it really does. It does suck, and I hate when stars get lost to that. The Cardinals, like I said, they've performed better. Paris Johnson, the right tackle, he's going to have his hands full. He's got Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence to worry about, but he has been playing well. So he's going to need to keep that up. Otherwise, Josh Dobbs is just going to be like, if I could predict sacks over under, no matter what the line is, I'd be taking over.
Yep. We have a bold call in the chat. Joe Crack predicting Arizona getting the upset.
Wow.
Again, I'll bet a cold brew on it, brother. That's 2. You might be owing me 2. I'll give you my Venmo.
That is a bold call.
But I see what he's saying, though. The Cowboys are naturally just the kind of team that'll just drop a game that they shouldn't for no reason. And usually the more blasphemous, the more likely.
That's fair.
I like Micah Parsons to make Josh Dobbs' day a living hell. And I like Josh Dobbs to put together a little something, a little magic that you don't expect him to. Age, I will jump in with my score prediction, and then I'll let you jump in. I'm going to give this one a 27-12 kind of vibe.
27-12. All right. Why don't I go with it's going to be a rough game. Okay, I'm going to go 31-9.
There you go.
Because I could see a shutout here. Like, honestly, not that Josh Dobbs is not playing okay for his for what we expected. But yeah, and I will say this though, that I mentioned this earlier in the show. The Cowboys by week 5 we're always talking about them as contenders, and by week 13, explosion.
Very, very consistently. And when I wasn't an analyst, it was easier for me to fade the Cowboys hype train, because I was like, oh, I know that's going to stop soon and I won't have to even hear about it anymore. But now that I'm an analyst, I'm like looking at it closely and I'm like, I get why people buy in every year. I get it.
Yeah. On paper, they're probably the best team they've got. One of the best teams they've had in the past, let's say 6 years.
But let's also remember too, like, I mean, and again, with keeping in mind the tragedy and the pain of the man and the fact that Trayvon is family to me as Bills Mafia, that hurts their chances, right?
It
like,
does.
Realistically, that is a huge. I mean, Stephon Gilmore should be CB1 and he'll hold it down. But dude, I'm wrecked for those fans and for that team to lose their All-Pro corner at this stage. It's crushing. But let's keep it moving. Did you got something else on that game?
Oh no, this is on the next game. I was going to say this is why we need the GOAT Anthony, because this is poor attempted producing by me to have 3 kind of unexciting games, 4 unexciting games sort of towards the end.
No, you're just
So
going with the order, bro. You're just going with the slate order, man. You
yeah, I'll be better prepared if I have to do it
don't
next week.
nah, don't worry about it, brother.
Let's
Don't
get
worry
it.
about it. Steelers or Raiders. Let's see here. I will jump in here again because I think we got some dumpster fire matchups here. Raiders are 2.5-point favorites, and I don't know. I'm inclined to think they're gonna win this game. It's kind of weird. They did get thromped by the Bills last week, but Jimmy G looked fine. They got weapons. Jacobs should right the ship here. Steelers aren't exactly a great matchup, but how dog water have the Steelers looked on offense, Adrian?
Good lord! I mean,
Unwatchable.
if there was someone that I was excited to watch, and I crowed about it all through the preseason. So I'll take the L here. They just look terrible. Najee Harris doesn't look explosive. Kenny Pickett looks uncomfortable all the
Yeah.
time, not making
Yeah.
smart decisions. George Pickens still doing okay. It's probably the only highlight.
Doing his
Last
thing.
week, yeah.
Doing what he does.
Calvin Austin was someone I wanted to really get going this year, and he hasn't been fantastic. Been okay.
I feel like that might be
But
a Canada yeah, shout out to Joe here for Blame Canada. I agree. Great reference, but also true. I mean, where's the Calvin Austin involvement? Pat Fryermuth age? I heard this stat today and I had a giggle about it. You know how many receiving yards he has through 2 games?
don't hurt me. I'm
Don't
ready to
look.
be hurt. Tell me.
He's got 5 receiving yards through 2 games.
And do you remember he was one of my fantasy flag plans, and
I
he's on
love him.
both
He
of my
should be
fantasy teams.
he should be great. I mean, he does have a touchdown, but 5 freaking yards, Adrian. It's heartbreaking. This whole Steelers thing, it's heartbreaking. So I'm gonna make it easy for us. I'm gonna say that I have the Raiders winning this game. I think it's gonna be. I feel like we've said this a lot today, but I feel like it's gonna be an ugly game. I'm gonna say
Mhm.
24-20 Raiders.
Yeah. I was when I was sort of going through a bit of prep for this show, I was noticing that a lot of the games this week feel like it's rare that you got 2 12.5 lines in the same week. And there's just it feels like there's a lot of dunks, and a lot of ugly kind of defensive games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Look, everything you said there is 100% on the money. I will say Jimmy G is probably going to have a rough day. Like the Steelers pass rush is good. TJ Watt's had a great season already. Alex Highsmith's
Yeah.
playing well. Josh Jacobs, this should be the one where he rides the ship because they do have a terrible run defense.
Yeah. He should.
More than I really thought the Steelers came into here with looking great in the trenches, but they have just been a turnstile to the run. So I feel like Josh Jacobs should have a monster game. If you got him in fantasy,
Could be a
starting.
linebacker problem. Might not be a front four problem. Maybe they don't have
Mm,
the guys to get the man down.
yeah, absolutely.
If
So
they had a weakness on defense, it's that or their secondary. But they do have like Minka's great, but they have some holes for sure.
is Minka? But I actually think he might be out.
He
Or
was
has
great
he been?
last week. I don't remember if he's because he's the one who hit Chubb.
Yeah. So
I
and he
don't.
went out with
Oh,
might have
he
been a
did, didn't
concussion.
he? Yeah,
I'm
we'll
just
see what
checking if
happens
he's.
on Minka. That's gonna be an interesting one. Um,
Nothing on the injury report. Anyway,
you
that's
gotta
okay.
you got a score for us?
17-10 Raiders.
Oof, yeah, just ugly,
Yeah. Yeah.
ugly, ugly,
Yeah.
ugly.
Couple
Keep it
tuds,
moving.
couple field goals, and that's about it.
Yeah,
We have nowhere to keep it moving to, my friend.
that was the
That
last
is week
one.
that's week 3 in the
Wait,
books.
that's Monday Night Football, or is it
I don't know.
is it just out of order?
I don't know. I might have had it out of order.
Oh,
Hold
that's
on.
totally fine. I had no idea. I haven't
Oh,
looked at
no,
the.
we haven't. No, sorry. You are correct. I haven't added Monday Night Football. So I'll just go through these because I haven't
Was
got the
that one
banners ready.
Sunday Night Football? Yeah, that's Sunday Night Football.
So we've got the Eagles at Bucks.
Oh yes. Oh, and there's 2 Monday
Eagles at
night
Bucks.
games.
There is. So sorry, this is totally my bad. Eagles
No,
at
all
Bucks. I'm
good.
glad you're on the ball.
Oh, I got
The
you.
line is 4.5, minus 4.5 to the Eagles.
-4.5 to the Eagles. Holy crap, Age. What do you say we end this podcast right now and just both sprint to Vegas? Because there's no way that the Bucks are within 4.5 points to the Eagles, in my opinion. That is such a sucker line because of how nice Mayfield has looked, and I'm excited about it. I'm going to let you victory lap. You love Baker Mayfield the way that I love potato chips. Okay, you do, and
I
that's
do.
fine. And
I agree.
he earns the love. I made him my waiver wire pickup of the week for Legit Football's waiver wire show. Philly's been hemorrhaging yards to the QB position, but I think the reason Baker's a good play this week is because I think Philly, if they run all over the Bucks like they should, if they get their guys going, Brown and Smith again, Goddard as well, I don't think there's any way that the hapless Bucks, who we all thought were going to be 0-17, is going to hang in with the Super Bowl. And it's only 5 points. That's such a low line.
Well, so So this is really a yin and yang game because you got 2-2-0 teams here. Philly has got there, I think we can all agree, pretty unimpressively. I don't think
Yeah,
they've been
unimpressively.
the Philly that we expected them to be. And the
Well,
Bucks, on the other hand,
their win against Minnesota was, I mean, 34 points is pretty
yeah,
tight.
but Minnesota was still in the game, and we don't think Minnesota's for real. Well, I don't know if we don't. I definitely don't.
Right.
The Bucks looked impressive in their wins. Baker has showed some real kind of chemistry with Mike Evans. I'll say that. These guys are top 2 rushing defenses in the league.
Total chemistry.
Yeah.
Total chemistry.
Yeah, he seems like he really trusts to go to him.
Yep.
Nice big dude, makes sense. Sure, Baker can't see over the line, but
Yeah.
the top 2 rushing defenses here. So I could see them actually holding the Eagles rush down. Now, the Eagles secondary is actually quite banged up. Avonte Maddox is on IR. James Bradbury, Reed Blankenship, both questionable. So this could be a game where I'm actually going to pick the Bucks here. So you can rush to Vegas. I'm rushing for different reasons.
I
I'm
love
actually
it. We're both running, but for different teams.
yeah. I'm going to pick the Bucks here. I am going to pick them. I actually think it's going to be okay. Let's say
You got the Bucks winning or covering?
winning. Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel good about it.
He feels
let's
good about
say
it, people. He's not just doing this for the peer pressure and because he loves
no,
it.
no. 34-27. I think it's going to be a big game. I actually think it's going to be like I'm kind of excited to watch this game for what it's worth.
Adrian, I am too, but it's not too late, okay? It's not too late. I will swear Joe to secrecy. He won't tell anyone about what he saw today.
I can't take it back here. And I'm a man of my principles, if nothing else.
Oh, well, I will be gentle when I dunk on you next week. I will make sure that it's a gentle
Will you
dunk.
though? Will
Yeah.
you?
I will. All right, one game left. Rams at Bengals, Super Bowl rematch. And look, Age, this is like one of the least fun games to talk about for me because I don't think we're seeing the real Bengals right now. We've known who the Bengals have been for the last couple of years, and I thought that I've always felt like they got this weird inflation from the media, and because Joe Burrow has good hair and because he's so charming, I always thought they got a little extra love. But the 180 that we've done on Baltimore or on Cincinnati is ludicrous.
Insane.
I got to give a little bit of love to who they can be. I don't know that they'll be them until Joe Burrow is fully healthy. And I'm for fantasy purposes, I on yesterday's fantasy Q&A show, all I said, Adrian, my company line was until Joe Burrow shows us that that's in the rear view, him, Chase, and Higgins are all shakier starts in fantasy because we need to see Burrow put it together and not just sort of, I'll say for lack of a better term, luck into these, T. Higgins monster touchdown. Like Joe Burrow looks like he can't plan on his back foot right now.
Yeah, and it looks like an injury that could keep bothering as well. I think that's the kind of scary part. Now, Joey B's had his issues with injuries in the past, as we know. I agree with everything you're saying. Do you know who their backup is? I should ask this.
Trevor Siemian?
Jacob Browning. He has
What?
attempted, not completed, attempted one pass in the NFL.
Trevor Siemian?
Yeah, they've got one backup on the roster.
Holy
They actually, their depth chart, and I'll check it now to make sure I'm not giving false information to the fans. Their depth chart does not have a third string.
Oh my god, that's
So
ugly.
it'll be interesting. I'm sure they'll elevate someone from the practice squad. But that is a terrible, terrible place to be. I think that is the biggest story here. Obviously, that's the one that's going to matter. There's still some chance that Joey will be there, but it's not guaranteed. And if he is, I kind of wonder whether you let him get healthy and have him back permanently rather than have this lingering issue. They started out 0-2 last year. They started out slow. Like they can come back from these sort of things. I mentioned this, you only get 5 losses as a powerhouse. If they go into a 0-3 hole, they're in a really dangerous spot. On the other side of the ball, the Rams offenses look great, even without Cooper Kupp. Puka Nacua, just like the guy that we all wish we drafted in our fantasy squads. Tutu Atwell looks great. Kyron Williams looks great. Matt Stafford's probably playing as good as anyone in the league at the moment. I'll say that. I think he's kind of shown that the last year was a bit of a blip. This is a hard game to pick because I'm going to pick the Rams because I assume that Joey won't be there or he won't be there 100%.
Right.
I don't know if you're with me on this, but so I'm going to pick the Rams. I'm going to pick the Rams to win this. It's kind of like 2.5 favorites. Like the Rams are actually playing quite really good right now, and even with Joey, their Bengals haven't been. So I feel like the 2.5 line is a little bit disrespectful as well. But let's call this. I was trying to think in my head how we can make this up. All right, so let's say I think Jake Browning might start it. So let's say 24-10.
Okay. That's a dog walking. You're projecting a dog walking of
No, but
the
actually, let me take it back. 24-21. Let me give them some points.
That was exactly the score I had in my head, you son of a gun.
Yeah.
So I also am picking the Rams, but here's what I'll say, Adrian, and you brought up this point. Bengals are 0-2, right?
Mhm.
What if I was the starting quarterback of the Bengals the last 2 games, Adrian? What would their record be? You can be honest. I won't be mad at you.
Well, it'll be 0-2.
Probably 0-2, right? So, what's the difference if Burrow is icing the calf and, taking it easy? None. There's zero difference. It's a mismanagement of talent. It's a mismanagement of assets. I get the thought process. It's a Super Bowl window. You're in a tight AFC with the Bills and the Chiefs and la 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 la. But if I was the starting quarterback of the Bengals, their record would be the same thing as it is now. And Burrow's calf strain was aggravated badly last week because he's out there trying to force it when he's not there. So to me, I'm disappointed in Zach Taylor. I'm disappointed in the Bengals. I don't think they're dead. If they're a steak, I think they're medium. They're infringing upon a steak that I would rather not serve. I think right now I could probably convince a very angry customer that it was medium rare and they just had to cut a little deeper into it. But
What's your ideal steak? Just so I know the reference. Is it medium
medium
rare?
rare, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, no, I'm a medium rare man.
I like a char on the outside. I like a steak
Yeah,
that
I get
looks
that.
burnt, crispy, but then you cut it and it's bloody. So Joe Crack, by the way, I happen to know this, is a blood rare guy. Joe Crack wants it undercooked.
Wow.
So I got to pick the Rams here. They have looked good. We talked about it on the Fantasy Q&A show last night. It's not Puka Sanity, it's Puka Mania.
It is. It really is.
He is if you say that you would rather have Christian McCaffrey or Josh Allen or Stephon Diggs or anybody over Puka Nacua on Twitter, you're canceled. It's it. It's the end of your career. Puka Nacua is the 101, and you absolutely better believe it. So what a fantastic show. Ran long today, but I love to see it. I love the analysis. I love the depth. It was me and Age. It's the band. We got the band back together. We're the OGs. We had Joey Crack, we had Thomas, we had Armand in the chat. We had a phenomenal show, phenomenal time. Age, anything you want to say to the people?
No, just look, man, as always, it's awesome. Thanks for keeping the chat live as always.
So great.
And I know we're on a different day today. I think this is going to be our slot moving forward. So
I think so too.
Yeah. We love having you guys in the chat and love having you here live. But if you haven't heard it live, tell your friends, subscribe, check us out on different platforms as well. But if you can, be on the YouTube show because you get to see the comments and you get to see everything going on. So
they're so fun.
We love you guys. That's all.
We love you guys. And Age, I'm so honored that we get to do this, man. I'm ready to ride this thing till the wheels fall off, man.
Let's do it. I'm right there with you.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is legit football. Week 2 recap, week 3 preview. And wait, hold on. Age.
Do you want me to fill some time here?
I want you to play the outro music.
I don't even know.
I got it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out.